Hey, everybody who's watching this live and those who are going to be joining us soon. Breath with Guruji. Hi, Sajanya. Hi, Suchi. I'm guessing that's Suchi, either Suchi or Hansa, Benita. Oh, that's Hansa. Hey, everybody. I feel like my Instagram has had an update. It's really funny. I can't, it doesn't give me everything that I need to see, but it's fine. Hi, Bhakti. Hi, Sachi. Hey, Divine Alok, Nary Bas. So, I am still in India. It's really odd to do this in the evening. It's 6 p.m. here. And hey, Dhara, it's 6 p.m. here. I'm so used to starting my day with this inspirational talk. I almost feel worn out and not tired really, but just when I come here, I'm having an amazing time, too much of an amazing time. You know, when you come back home, you become a child. Like I've become a child. I've gone back into my like childish things. You just want to be pampered and eat food and you lose discipline, and clearly all of that has happened here. So it's a lot of fun. Hey, everybody. It is a lot of fun, and I guess I should be taking a little break from life. I mean, of course, I'm still going to be doing this, but I guess in the last week of December, besides Guruji's live, I'm going to be taking a break from posting, from everything else. So Guruji is right here. So let's do this. Hopefully this will work. It should work. Pranam Guruji.
Pranam. How are you?
I am very well, Guruji. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Oh, today you're organizing from Mumbai.
I am organizing this from Mumbai, Guruji. That is correct. Even when we did the class, I was in Mumbai. I spoke to Krishnaji and I said, it's so sad because of the COVID and the quarantine situation. I can't. My goal was to come to Indimasi in December. And because of the quarantine situation and the COVID situation, my entire family is unhappy with me traveling. They're like, if you travel, we're going to put you in quarantine for 14 days away from your children. But I'm hoping by the summer when I come back, Guruji, this is done. COVID is done. And that time I can come and I can come to Indimasi.
Yes, what is meant to happen, let it be.
Yes,
So,
yes.
what
It
our
will.
Mother Nature is planning for us, we will just go ahead with
That's what I was telling Krishnaji, that something in my tapasya is lacking, that this can't happen this time.
that.
Something needs to change. How are you doing, Guruji?
Perfect.
Yeah, oh, as usual.
As usual, yes.
Lovely, lovely. For everybody, I just want to say, Guruji, I want to say that the session last time I kept getting cut on, and Guruji's been doing yoga philosophy sessions. I don't even know if we should call it that, because it's like the most amazing truths of the human mind and body and ourself that Guruji talks about. I was blown away, Guruji, last time with the talk. I could not stay for the whole because I was teaching, and it kept cutting off. But whatever I heard, I was really, really blown away. I'm so
Good, good,
grateful.
good.
I'm so grateful, Guruji, that you teach us all of that.
Yes, as the seeker, like reach to certain level, nature will provide according to the need. We are not doing anything. Actually, everything is being done through us. There is a cosmic plan for everything.
So, what can we do? I know we're going to talk about breath. So, Guruji, what can we do to keep ourselves in alignment so the cosmic plan happens easily? Besides the
No,
morning practice, because Guruji, I know when I'm not in alignment, I feel like I'm swimming against the tide. There is a feeling of swimming against the tide. And when I'm in alignment, it's just, you feel like you're melting in the arms of the universe.
yes. So get consistency in that feeling, in that alignment. That is your task. It is coming to you as a spark or a temporary feeling, you have to make it constant. Sthirata in Sanskrit.
So,
Have you
Guruji,
heard
it's so
about
easy
Sthira
to
Buddhi?
lose sthira buddhi. Of course, Guruji. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. It's when I'm there in the US, it's very easy to stay. Even now, I mean, when you come back home, you just become a child. Like I've come back to Mumbai to my parents' house. I have become a little child suddenly, right?
Yes.
No, this is such a tendency. When you come back to your parents, you become a little child, and everything else goes out of the window. So I don't know how one should deal with that.
Yeah, that is our actually, that is our talent, or that should be our quality. The external world will keep on changing, but we should be able to be in tune with all changes. That is the peculiarity of the swan. In the water, it's keep on floating. Whatever may be the size of the wave, it is not affecting the swan. It keeps moving based on the current. Same way, the external world is like a rough sea. We are just floating on that. We must have that weightlessness to be on top of water, and we'll keep floating. That is the state of sthira buddhi, or stability in yoga, or we can say sahaja samadhi.
Yeah, right, Guruji. So let's talk about our topic for today, Guruji, the breath.
Yes,
So, Guruji, I know you once said that the breath connects us, right? It connects our physical body to our subtle body.
Hmm.
Can we start with that, Guruji? Can you start elaborating on that first?
Is there a subtle body?
It's the nabhas you talk about, right? It's that ether, the akash that you come from,
Yes,
right?
that is
And then
not
there's a
that is not our subtle body. We want to say body is like a physical body, pranic body, and mental body. Beyond that, there is no body.
yes.
So, from the subtle energy, or the omnipresent energy, from infinity, a certain finite um, shapes will be formed. That is what we say, the memory, something which is beyond our understanding, beyond our comprehension. Then once it comes to our mental level only, we can say we are forming a body. Only we have three bodies. Beyond that, two more dimensions are there, which are not bodies, only energy level. So from the mental body, we can come back to our pranic body. Pranic body we can experience, like from our body around 6 inches away from the body, we can feel certain kind of heat. That is our pranic body. Then after that pranic body, we can say the tangible physical body. So breath is actually playing in between the mind and body. Mind is very subtle, which doesn't have a shape, but it has memory level, and memory also, we have many memory, genetic memory, evolutionary memory, many are there. So from that memory, it will take a stable form of pranic body. That is what we call aura, which will have a direct influence with our physical body. So if we ask the question whether there is a link, or how the subtle body and physical body is linked, what we can say is the pranic body and physical body are really linked. Once we get that proper understanding of that union between pranic body and physical body, mental body will be under control. That is what we say, manomayam idam sarva. Or as per Patanjali, yoga, chitta vritti, nirodha. There we will come to know about our mental activity. Through that mental plane only, we can connect ourselves with the other planes of Vijnanamaya, intellectual plane of the cosmos, and go beyond that Anandamaya, which is the eternal bliss. So, this is the theory. Again, we are talking about a theory or something which is beyond our comprehension. Practice is the only way to experience it.
Right, Guruji. So you're saying that the breath exists in these levels of the pranic between the physical and the mental body.
Hmm.
That's where the breath exists.
Brother, yes.
And when you go beyond that to the energetic realms, there is no breath.
That limit will go. That is what is called like Vyashti Prana, which means individual prana, and cosmic prana, Samashti prana. So once we bring this technical words
Terms.
in our talk, it will be very difficult for people who are listening this.
Yes,
It's like
Guruji.
reading a very, very heavy book of Vedanta.
Yes, Guruji. Yes. That's
We
your
would like,
gift to not make it so complicated, for us to make it so easy to understand.
yes, we have to bring it into our daily practice, and it should be minimized. It should be slightly explained, through which we can understand its pragmatically. Otherwise, we keep on explaining the slokas from Brahma Sutra, from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. All these things are sutras or very serious techniques, equations. It has to be elaborate and minimized, simplified. Then only we can bring it into practice. In that way, what I can suggest to you is, the reason. Even today, I will tell you an example or my experience. Technically, today, I am not in a mood to talk. You know why? I am going through many ups and downs. Like a huge investment I already done in intimacy. And maintenance also, that cost also very high. Okay. Then business is not there because of the COVID
COVID.
situation. And the loans taken from the bank, they are not having any compromise. So all these things are coming to me as a material person, a responsible social being. I have to face all these things. Whom I can challenge? When I become disturbed, I will start fighting with my mother, the Parashakti, cosmic. So every day, early morning, around 1:30, 2 o'clock, I will sit for my meditation. That is my personal, practice. All other time, like daytime, I speak with people. I have consultations. Some people will come for spiritual, with the spiritual doubts. Some people will come for healing diseases. Many different categories of people are coming and talking to them according to their necessity. But for me, I directly link with my mother is in the early morning meditation time. I asked her, why am I put into this kind of ups and downs? Why should I be here? Actually, I love my loneliness and my silence. That is the most wonderful thing which I can experience or enjoy for myself. But still, I am dragged back into this society, this complicated society, to get many things done. So I was little upset with my mother. And today morning when I was sitting, I was like a naughty child as I was in the forest. I held my breath and I told her, "You are putting me into big trouble. So now I am putting you in trouble. Now, tell me, why am I having this problem?" No answer. I kept on holding. Then I got some kind of different experience. It was fantastic and beyond explanations, like in an ecstatic mood. Actually, I didn't want to talk anything right from the morning. because I wanted to just feel that nectar which I am drinking, that intoxicant state which I am experiencing.
Somaras.
Somarasam, yes, and the Amrut. So that feeling is there. So she like a crying child. Immediately, mother gave a wonderful chocolate. So I still am enjoying that chocolate. So I don't want to talk, or I don't want to, scatter that energy. But again, from morning, I'm just keep on talking to many, many people.
Sorry, Guruji.
No,
Sorry, I feel
why
bad.
should why should you say sorry? This is this crazy lady's technique. I'm calling this crazy lady means my mother nature, Parashik. I can play with her. So though I love to immerse myself into my silence, nature says no. Gave you a chocolate. That means you can enjoy it. But same time, my other children are there, so you have to just share your feelings or knowledge with them. So what I'm saying is, whether we like or not, things will happen as she decides. So it is not necessary to say sorry, or no need to feel anything like, okay, I did wonderfully, or I did, without any effect. So people should understand the domination or the supremacy or the secret of Mother Nature. How we can get into that? Just try to understand. We should teach our intellect that we cannot hold even one of our hair. Not even one cell is under our control. It keeps on mutating. So just understand that, teach our brain, educate ourselves, then meditate. When we meditate, yes, breath is the main thing. Our prana, or the air which we breathe in, is called prana vayu in Sanskrit. It has two levels, prana and vayu. This vayu will mix up into our blood. How it is, no doctor can explain that. Yeah, to a certain extent, they can say laboratory analysis, microscopic way, they can say that's a molecular level we can define, but beyond molecules, there are many, many functions taking place. And body always maintain a certain heat, which we call tapa in Sanskrit. That is almost 37.3 degrees centigrade. So this tapa and the vayu, which we inhale, will mix up and it will produce a particular kind of energy, which we call vada. So vada keeps on rotating, keeps on moving in our body, right from the toe to head, it incessantly flowing. Wherever this vada get blocked, there some damages will take place. So we should not let this vada be blocked any part of our body. How? We should catch hold of prana. As I told you, prana,
Prana.
vayu, yeah. When we inhale, prana also taken from nature along with the vayu. That prana is directly linked with mind. Many people misunderstand that vayu, the air which is filling our lungs, is prana. No, that is vayu. Prana is directly linked with the mind. That is why masters declare Indriyanam Manonadha Manonadastu Maruda. Maruda means prana. So once we consciously connect our mind with that prana, this vada will not get stuck in our system. The moment the prana or the vada is stuck, we call it arthritis. In Ayurveda, it's called ama vada. Ama means it's like some kind of swelling. Vada is air and fire. So anybody who wants to establish into the art of breathing, we should understand these two dimensions. One is physical harmony or fitness or health. Second is the cosmic link. Mind can be connected to the cosmic reality or what we call Parashakti. So that will make a union between Yashti, individual existence, and Samashti, cosmic identity. When this connection comes, that will give us the ecstasy of life. So this is the first lesson as the significance of breath.
Okay, Guruji. That
Yes.
was really nicely explained that this prana vayu, which is prana vayu, is something that you take in every time you
Yes.
breathe. But from the prana vayu aspect, the vayu is really that aspect which goes and circulates around the breath. But prana, you said we have to catch hold of prana. So
Yes.
what? And you said because otherwise, if that vayu gets disoriented, gets stuck somewhere, that
Yes.
instantly leads to disease. We all know in Ayurveda that
Yes.
vayu is the cause of decline. It's the cause of
Yes.
disease. One of the biggest
Yes.
causes of disease is vayu or vata. So
Yes.
Guruji, how do you catch a hold of prana? You said if you catch hold of prana, then the vata won't get stuck. So what does that mean?
Within 24 hours,
Mm-hmm.
we are breathing. Take inhalation and exhalation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
21,600 times we are breathing.
Mm-hmm.
How the lungs are expanding and contracting? That is because of the prana. The direct link with the cosmic prana and our individual prana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Due to that function, Vayu is being sucked and expelled. That
Mm-hmm.
point you got now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the prana which is making the lungs move is
Mm-hmm.
connected with the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So deliberately we tell our mind to stop these functions. I mean, we inhale and hold the breath. So prana is slightly, like blocked over there. Say conscious block. That is why Master said yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Nirodha means it's arresting it forcefully. So when we hold the breath, prana get a little bit, like it's stuck over there. Then the cosmic energy, the Vishwa prana, will be little bit tinkled. We will come to know something is happening around us. It is an environmental awareness. This is the basic lesson of pranayama. You got it.
Yes,
When
Guruji.
so again, it is like we have electricity in our house.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is bothered about it. And many children are not aware from where electricity is coming because they are not educated for that.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody is keen to understand what
Mm-hmm.
electricity is, from where it is coming,
Mm-hmm.
we can take two wires
Mm-hmm.
from a plug point and just touch together. What will
Mm-hmm.
happen? Consciously we
Spark.
are arresting consciously we are arresting the continuous flow of that energy. So when we touch it, there will be a spark. But
Mm-hmm.
keep touching, naturally
Mm-hmm.
what will happen? If we keep holding it, the main switch area,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the, what, the transformer catch fire.
Yes.
There are many places, this safety measures are there, like fuses and all these things are kept. Suppose, just for example, in transformer also there is no fuse for precaution, safety reasons. What will happen? The power station will catch fire. So the origin of the energy source will be visible
Right.
because of this union.
Because
Same
of
way,
yeah.
so if we see our system is an individual mechanism in this universe, and we take these two wires from our temples, Ila Pingala Nadi, let's connect it. Bruvur Madhye, Shivasthane, Manastatra Viliyede. We have to connect the positive and negative over here. Suryachandra Hatha Ityabdiyade. Hatha Yoga is done. So we keep holding. What will happen? The 5 energy sources around us, Panchabhutas, will start shaking.
Activity, tremoring.
Yes. So we will come to know from which transformers these 5 energies are coming. That is prana. Then, if we keep holding, as we advance in that holding, that union state, then the power source, universal source will be seen, which we say Parashakti, the supreme power. So this is what meant by pranayama. So it's the beginning. The start should be with slowing down the pace of our breath. Instead of 21,600 times a day, with practice, we have to bring it back to around 10,000, 12,000 times a day. You can also check for yourself. If you
10,000,
establish,
12,000. Wow, that's very little compared. It's half.
yes. See, normally when you are having a stressed life, minimum 14 to 16 times a minute you breathe. 14 to 16 times within a minute. If you're so relaxed, so happy, you observe your breath, it will be like 6, 7. How much then?
Yes,
You
Yoga
brought
Nidra.
exactly half of that. In the sound, like when you do the proper breathing and you are immersing yourself into meditation, maybe 2 times in a minute. So see the ratio. If you hold the breath deliberately for 30 minutes, you do pranayama. Maybe 1 breath in 2 minutes, you keep holding. Then what kind of energy savings you are doing? So like that, you will bring down the numbers of the breath. Then slowly we have to reach or make our breath into a state of stillness. That is what masters say. Nichala Tattve Jivan Mukti. Bring your prana, the function of prana, into a state of stillness. That is what is called Nichala. No action, no movements. Nichala Tattve. When you reach that state, you are liberated. So pranayama should start as a simple control of breath, slowly advance into retention. When you establish into retention, then the bandhas, kriyas will take place. Through that, the hidden centers, the nodes in our body, which we call marmas will be loosened. Through that, our bondage, the boundaries of our senses, boundaries of the senses.
Sorry, Guruji. It's in my
Yeah.
room, Sanju. It's in the room.
I saw it's not there.
Okay, it's in where I sleep. It's right next to that. Sorry, Guruji. My daughter is going to have class
Yes,
and
yes,
she's panicking.
yes.
She's in complete panic state.
Yeah.
Sorry, Guruji. Huh.
Yeah.
So
So we
bandhas
can,
kriyas will
yeah,
happen. The bandhas kriyas will
happen,
happen.
and that will unblock
Hmm.
the energy sources or the limitations, as we call marmas, and the marmas are like loosened. Then we will obliterate our boundaries of sense. When we go beyond the senses, the sixth sense will naturally be activated. When we get the sixth sense, the rest is experience beyond explanation.
You give everything, Guruji, in one explanation. And you started with saying, okay, so when we think of breath, most of us think of breath as something very mechanical, right? Especially when you come, it's mechanical. You breathe in oxygen, you breathe out. Now, when you have to start looking at breath as prana vayu and start seeing how it connects, how does it connect us to the cosmos? Starting at the level of just understanding that prana vayu has 2 parts, like we said, vayu, which circulates around, prana, which kind of gets held here in your lungs and has potential for more. And how do you start exploring if the end journey is to stop this breath so that once you stop this breath, like you arrest those two wires, like you talked about arresting those two wires. When you do that, there is a spark in the source. There is an energetic connection with the source. That is kind of the end goal, right? That's what connects
Yeah.
us back to where we came from.
True. True.
And where do you start? So Guruji said, if your goal is eventually to be in a state where you can just not, you don't even have to breathe because everything else is activated. You of course start first by slowing down your breath.
Yes.
The first task is slowing down your breath. Instead of 21,000, you bring it to 10 or 12. When we get comfortable with that, slowing down your breath, naturally we can start breath retention.
True. Yes.
That's the second stage. As you do the breath retention, automatically the bandhas and kriyas will happen. I know how it feels, Guruji. When I do the breath retention, suddenly everything in your body, the bandhas and kriyas naturally happen. So they will happen very, very naturally. We might come to a point where there is complete chitta vritti nirodha. You come in that state where all of that connection, right? All of that prana that we are lending to our senses, we're lending to our indriyas, now is all arrested. And when it's all arrested, there comes a moment of truth. And that moment of truth is that our connection to the cosmos, and we are able to directly experience it.
Yes.
Right,
That
Guruji?
is what is. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that is exactly what's happened.
So, Guruji, when you say slow down your breathing, right? Now, in the day, right, Guruji, we are always running, exercising, running, doing things. How do we, besides the morning practice, right? So I know when I do my practice or if I do yoga nidra, then the breathing slows down. The meditation breathing slows down. Pranayam, the breath retention meditation, it slows down. During the day, Guruji, how does one go about actively slowing his breath?
It will become a habit. You will become conscious of breathing. Naturally, what's happening? You forget about the rhythm of breath. When you are engaging yourself into your day-to-day activities, you totally forget about breath. But if you keep doing our meditation practice every day in a systematic method, that art of breathing or art of attention will take. Now I am talking to you. Though I engage myself into the subject, I am fully aware about my body and the rhythm of breath. So it has to be developed as a habit. Then it will happen effortlessly. A person who is like a learning cycle, first time when he try to sit on a cycle, he will not get any balance and he may fall. And definitely he needs a support. So he'll keep moving with a great strain and effort. He will be moving here and there, and somehow he will get the balance. After getting the balance, when he start riding the bicycle, will there be any kind of stress on him?
No, it becomes second nature.
He will start enjoying that. Then he can make even some techniques on that, like a circus. People who are doing in the circus, they do many things based on that balance. Life or the breathing also like that. In the beginning, you may feel, oh, it's going here and there, the bandhas and the kriyas are giving us pain, problems. But as we advance into that, the art of breathing will become effortless. Then we will start enjoying like the cycle. Then beyond that enjoyment, if we advance into higher level of meditation, then we can play with that, make many miracles. That is what miracles. That is what we call siddhis, extraordinary powers. So these are all happening with the practice. We cannot imagine what will happen when I sit on a bicycle, and without sitting on that, how we'll enjoy.
Absolutely, Guruji. And
Yeah.
it's so true. Even just the awareness of the breath becomes a habit. Right,
Yes.
Guruji? If nothing else, just even the awareness of the breath naturally slows down the breath, even if you do
Yes.
nothing else.
Yes, of course. Even now, if you check, now we are talking, if we listen or check the ratio of our breath, it will be in between 10 and 14. Just we sit silent and listen the clock, the tick tick of the clock, or some other rhythmic sound. After 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you check your ratio of your breath, the count. It will be like 8, 7, like that. So as we start focusing on something, when mind is get focused, the count number of breath will be significantly less.
So, Guruji, at the end of all of this, right, when the whole world tries to explain meditation for calm and this and that, this is really what it is. That noise, that chitta, which is gone everywhere in the world and traveling outside, the minute you bring it back, even to just awareness, and you said just even listening to the sound of a clock,
Hmm.
anytime you bring it to awareness, we are able to slow down our breath.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
everybody who's listening, right? Everybody who's listening, even if we don't have a retention practice yet, even if you've not gone into advanced states of meditations, just by starting this, bringing back the awareness. This is what they call mindfulness today, but you've explained it in a
Yeah.
way, Guruji, that we understand our journey from mindfulness to the unity of the cosmos.
Yes.
I don't know what that was. It was a big. Yeah. So it starts here. It starts at just this point, but does not end at this point. We have to take our practice further. Guruji, the world has come to a place today where they have kind of stayed at this point, where mindfulness has become a big deal. And it's great. But like Guruji said, that this is a starting point. This is not an ending point.
Yeah, that's true.
But Guruji, automatically, right, when somebody just even starts being mindful and gets on the path, he will naturally reach the station.
Definitely. See, nothing is static in nature. Even we in our meditation also, if we sit at least 5-10 minutes a day, it will become a habit. That habit will be guiding us to higher destinations in meditation. That's all. We should not have a premonition about our practice. The moment we fix
Yes,
an idea, we are expelled from meditation. So let
that is
things
so
happen.
well said. Yeah.
This is what is called tyaga, renunciation. What we have to do is neti, neti, the technical term of Veda. Not this, not this. So keep on searching. That search itself will take us to a plane of consciousness where duality will not exist. That is the experience. So beyond all these things are beyond explanation. So if you go through this Vedantic, scriptures, they try to explain everything in this universe in Vedas.
Yes,
Then they say
absolutely everything.
everything. Then declare that the reality is none of these things. This is
That's
that
the
again.
best part. That's the best part
Yes,
about all of these Shastras. Even I see my Ashtang Hridayam, it says this, and the reality is none of this. Yes, it's
yeah,
all. Yes.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Guruji. And that is the duality. They're like the two sides that.
yeah,
Yes. From this Thula Sharir, this is what you see.
yeah.
So that it's explained from this angle, but it's said this is not really what it is.
Yes,
Right. And you said something very important to not have a you should not have a map for your journey, for your spiritual practice. We
no,
shouldn't say, oh, I do this, then that will happen, and then this will happen. That means you're giving up your practice.
yes, yes,
It should be like a nishkam karma.
yes. Not like it should be Nishkamaka.
It is nishkam karma. Yes, Guruji.
Yeah.
Guruji, I have one question.
Hmm.
Sometimes when I'm in meditation, or I know with others as well, in meditation, I cannot say it's emotional, but a lot of like I start crying, right? For no, it's a gratitude. It's a good type of crying. Your heart is full of love, and you feel completely, so grateful for everything that you have. And then you don't even know tears start coming down your eyes. And that
Yeah.
happens in meditation for many people. Why does that happen? What is happening for that?
There are two reasons for activating the tear glands in our eyes, either pleasure or pain. So in meditation, they will feel that internal joy. They become happy, that will activate the tear glands. Otherwise, they must have, they must be in pain. But in meditation, there is no pain. So pleasure and pain can activate these glands. It's natural.
Yeah, and there's an overwhelming feeling of gratitude. There's an overwhelming feeling of just being grateful for everybody and everything. But I
That
don't do it by
gratitude,
planning.
no, that gratitude is our explanation. See, mind needs an explanation for everything. See, when you get, some kind of ecstatic feeling,
Yeah,
and
ecstatic is the word.
you want to tell thanks to somebody, but you cannot find anybody other than yourself. So then mind will say, okay, I am grateful to everyone. It's only a comfortable explanation for ourselves. But there is nothing to be grateful, because you are the reality which is manifesting as this cosmos. Then how, uh, like only one, Advaita, oneness cannot express something to other things. Infinity cannot be divided. Correct, no? So how an infinity can be grateful to something else? It is beyond our senses, or it is beyond our intellect.
Ah, I see now. So, Guruji, that feeling is really a feeling of unity. But we
Yes.
can't, we are not, we are like, oh, I can't be united, so I have to thank somebody else.
None else is available in this universe other than yourself. That
Yes,
is what I
okay.
said. When we feel that ecstatic feeling, actually that is a stimulation of our reality, our inner self. Then mind is a product of dualism. So mind is looking for an object or a subject to be grateful. This is what is happening. In yoga, there is no mind. That is why Patanjali declared yoga chitta vritti nirodhaga. Once you go beyond your mind only, you will come to know that what reality is. So sometimes your meditation will, fall into, dive into that level of consciousness. There can be a spark of that oneness. There you will feel fantastic, but you cannot explain what it is. You're pouring tears, goosebumps are coming, you love everybody, you love everything, you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, we don't know what's happening. Yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
Guruji. That's the feeling. I don't know what's happening. That's
Yeah, then
exactly how
the,
it feels.
yeah, then mind will stand up and say, no, no, no problem. I have an explanation. So I am
Uh-huh.
being grateful to everybody. Like,
Yes, Guruji, I understand. That's exactly what happens. Guruji, somebody's asking a question. I understand, but everybody, like, we are encouraged nowadays to develop gratitude, right? It's a big thing to develop gratitude on a daily basis.
yeah,
It's become a big practice. So, what do you have to say about that?
yeah. Why should we develop gratitude? Gratitude is the attitude towards the greatness. What is great in this world?
Attitude is the Gratitude is the attitude towards greatness.
Great. What is great in this nature? What is great in this world?
I mean, just everything.
I mean, what we say, God is great. That is the reality. So we are searching for the great in nature, the great, the God. So who is God? The self. Aham Brahmasmi. So if I want to be grateful to Nidhi, I should understand, or I should experience the same energy which is working in my body, is manifesting in you as you. So when I become grateful to you, actually I am recognizing myself in you. That is the oneness. Or if we explain something some more scientific way, the manifestation of that energy in a molecular level is cell. You have 150 trillion cells in your body. I have same amount. And if we take a photograph of these cells with a biophoton camera, it is quite obvious that there are substantial evidences to prove that these cells are in communication. No matter thinking how far they are, in a through a subtle energy, subtle link, these cells are in touch with. They are interacting each other, and somehow they are dancing like with a certain rhythm. That means my mind is separating me from you. When I go beyond my mind, I will find my own energy within you. So when I become grateful to you means unknowingly or in a spiritual way, language, I can say I am recognizing myself in you. That is the feeling of oneness. When I experience my own energy in each and every molecule in this universe, who am I? The omnipotent, omnipresent being, the great. That is what is called gratitude.
That's actually exactly what the feeling is, Guruji. You're so right. Because in our normal lives, we are so disconnected, we are unable to feel that cosmic force which unites us, that goes through
Yeah.
all of us. And in our
Yes.
normal life, we are so we have an electromagnetic field which is kind of just stuck. And when you come in that feeling of gratitude, like that's literally how it feels, that you're able to feel that cosmic force which is just flowing. You just feel like there's a flow between everything.
Yes. The wheel which is separating you and myself is our mind, the sensory boundaries. You say, oh, I am this, I have this, I have this. So this, you will make your own boundaries. I will make my own boundaries with my mind. So mind is the Maya, the wheel of ignorance, which is separating everything. So when we go beyond the mind, we are tearing the mind. The wheel of ignorance, we are removing. That is what is called obliterating the boundaries of our senses. When we eliminate that, obliterate that, then we will feel the oneness. Oneness is
Absolutely,
infinite.
Guruji. This time I'm going to feel so different, Guruji. When I feel that again, I will actually feel like you're in the arms of the cosmos when you feel that level of gratitude. And that's
Yes.
why now I understand why gratitude is so encouraged, because that feeling of unity is encouraged because you get a glimpse of at least what it feels like to be united,
Yeah.
to feel that flow. Okay, Guruji, there's
Yes.
another question.
Yeah.
Harshada asking, is there a feeling of fear at times when in meditation?
Once again, question.
Is there a feeling of fear? I think she's saying that she has a feeling of fear at times when she's
Ah.
in meditation, like an anxiety almost in meditation sometimes.
Again, it can come. All kinds of feelings will arise in our meditation, like fear, greed, lust, jealousy. All these hidden things are there, and technically we cover these things with our intellect. But when we meditate, we'll become more open and honest with ourselves. So the hidden things will start slowly bubbling up. So whatever comes, we should tell that, Nedi, not this. We should not be attached with that. So when we become indifferent with all these things, the progress in the meditation will be effortless.
That's very true, Guruji. Things that we repress and suppress come up in the meditation because we are giving ourselves a chance, a safe place for everything to keep coming up.
Yeah.
And we just allow it to come and pass away.
Yes. That is actually that is what is symbolized as the Paladi Mathan, the churning of milky ocean.
Yeah, yes, 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 the Samudra Manthan. That,
Samudra Mathan. Yes, when we the Samudra, the ocean is our own mind. When we start churning it unconditionally, the first thing which is coming out is Kalakuda Visham, the poison which can destroy the whole universe. That much is
Kalakuda Visham, yes.
containing in our mind. Then when we keep churning, all good and bad things will come. Sri Devi, the goddess for prosperity, along with Mudevi, the goddess of poverty, good and bad, everything will come. Then finally, end of the journey, Amrut, the knowledge which is taking you to immortality will come up from that. But also coming from our mind. That is our destination. Up to that moment, everything will come up. So we have to just give up.
You know, for those who missed it, Guruji did explain Samudra Manthan to us, even in our yoga philosophy course and here, that it's the exploration of that mind. And in the ending, as we keep letting things go and go and go, and all our sankharas come up and they depart, then what's really left is that Amrit.
Amrit, yes.
Yes. That was lovely, Guruji. Is there anything else about the breath that we should know? So the way Guruji explained it today was really great. We just slow down with our breath, then we go to retention. Then you come to a point of natural chitta vritti nirodha and you experience the cosmic truth.
Yes.
Anything else, Guruji, that you can give advice to all of us that are listening with the breath, or just the same, that keep practicing?
Keep practicing, that's all. Use your each and every prana and convert it into Kejari rather than leaving it as Vaikari. Again,
explain that, Guruji.
Yes. The moment you take a breath in, prana and vayu both are linked. The vayu, the gross air, will go to the lungs, which will be converted into energy. But prana, through the hole back in the spinal cord, it will go down to the coccyx, Mooladhara. From Mooladhara, it will be converted itself into two channels, Ila, Pingala. That section of diversion is called Parashakti. Then from Parashakti, the state of Para energy, it will move up when it reaches to our genital area and navel area. That is labeled as Pashyandi, which will activate your appetite and appetite-based feelings. Sexuality, reproductive capability, everything is developed by that part of energy. Then the third part of energy, when it reaches to the Anahata chakra, there you will have the feeling, mamata, me, mine. Everything is a possessiveness is developed over there. Then the other part of the energy from Anahata, when it comes to Vishuddhi chakra and transferred itself into word, vak, then it is jumping out from our body, it's being wasted as words, vak. So each breath is transforming itself into four sections, and finally the last section is spitting out as words. But consciously what we should do, try to be as silent as possible without wasting the words. Then from the throat chakra, we should guide that fourth level of energy towards Ajna chakra. It's called Kejari. Ke means space. So from Vishuddhi chakra, it should be consciously taken up to Ajna chakra. That is for the process of that uplifting is called Kejari. Chari means establishing, moving. Ke means Akash, or space.
Like the Kejari Mudra.
Kejari Mudra. Keep doing this. Learn from an experienced person. Just spend 2 to 3 years with patience. Within 2 to 3 years, everybody will become as effortless as our breath. I mean, this Kejari process will be as effortless as our normal. Everybody can experience.
Yes, Guruji, it's
So,
like the Archana. It's like the Archana. It's like that.
Archana, okay.
Guruji taught us an
So,
Archana, which
yeah,
he taught us how to
yeah.
do that.
So, Archana, why I use that word Archana? In Indian tradition, each and every ritual is linked with Archana. Putting your flowers or some other things on top of an idol, I don't think there is an effect for it. Like we keep a stone or a metal saying that this is Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu or Parashakti, whoever it is. Then take something in our thali and say, Om Bhashpaya Swaha, Om Tilaya Swaha. Like that, we keep on putting these things on top of that idol. Do you think something is coming out of that idol? I have not seen any benefit by doing this. I traveled all over India. I saw many people, many temples. These are all, like I can say, commercial devotion. Or devotion is commercialized. But I am not denying this. There is a significant message, very important message installed in that action, which is Kechari. Anybody who is witnessing this ritual, who is having little intellectual development, will ask a question: what does it
What am I
mean?
doing? Yeah.
This is science. Questions should come from the
Yes.
viewer.
Yes,
Then
Guruji.
question is that what does it mean? A particular stone cannot give any result. Then why do you do this? Why masters taught this? And thousands of years that process has been kept alive, and it is still very active in our daily life. So question is there, what? Then idam shariram kaundeya kshetram ityabhidiyade. Krishna declares in Gita, hey Arjuna, the seeker, your body is the temple. Idam shariram. Shariram means body. Kaundeya kshetram, temple. The body is your temple. Then who is God? Your own self. So how you can find God within your body? Focus the mind over there. That is the message. And the message is given like that. Method is taught us through the Archana, an external symbol. We should ask why and how. They learn the technique, adopt it, bring it into practice. Then, where there is an effort, there has to be a result. This is the law of nature. Put your effort through the Kejari Mudra, which is advised to us by almost all immortal sages. When
Yes,
we get
Guruji.
into that practice, that is their liability to give us the result. Definitely, they will give. That is what I got. So I am also assuring from my experience. This I
It will
learned
happen.
from our tradition, verified with the science, put for my reasoning power. Then I got that conviction. I brought it into practice. I became the beneficiary of it. So anybody can get into this practice and be beneficial.
So not waste one breath. Take every
Yes.
breath towards Archana. That should be the goal.
Yes.
First start by bringing awareness to each breath, slowing it down, not wasting every breath, moment by
Yes.
moment. Thank
See,
you so much, Guruji.
yes,
Huh.
yeah. Our people, especially Hindus, they are going to temple and they offer things to God, thinking that, oh, I donate this one to this temple, I offer this one to God. How can we offer something to God? Because we don't have anything as ours. Even the body is not ours. Then through this body, we capture something from here and there and thinking that is mine. So I gave this one to God. No, it's not possible. Only thing which we own is our own prana. So when that leaves the body will be useless. It will go back to its origin. So we own only the breath. So offer that breath to God. Each and every breath you use as an archana. Then you will see how nature react to us.
We use every breath to get closer.
Yes,
Yes. Because, like you said, Guruji, we don't have anything, nothing belongs to us. We
yes,
have this that connects us, and we offer each one so we can be connected to the source.
of course.
That was very powerful, Guruji. Thank you so much, Guruji. I'm sorry you had to talk today. Uh, I know you didn't, it was not your
Again, you
day.
are saying sorry. No, no need. This is what we have to. If nature says that there is a design for each and every molecule in this nature, which we call destiny. Nobody can change that and no need to change. So we are engaging ourselves into these actions because of that design. That's all. Understand that, then we are detached from
Yes,
Nishkama
Guruji.
Dharma. Yes.
Yes, Guruji. Nishkam
Okay.
Karan. Pranam,
Thank you.
Guruji. Thank you so
Pranam to
much,
all.
Guruji.
Thank you very
Pranam.
much. Welcome.
Pranam.
Bye bye.
Bye, Guruji.